Content warning, this game contains strong language, text depictions of blood, gore, death, and visual depictions of blood. Legal alcohol consumption is implied. Player discretion is advised. Game by Mystery Gamedev for Spooktober 2023. This is Reaplaced. Very good. This is, of course, by Mystery Gamedev, which is a collective community of fans and developers of mystery games. And the names in the credits here are a very familiar list of names to me, personally. For example, this is written by Zeta Ken, who the name behind the Game of Fortune, which is really neat to... Do I call it Zero Escape-like? Really neat mystery game you can get now on Steam and itch.io. Character designs and sprites by Nehru, from Soul Set Blank Space fame. Heck. Locked On, one of the composers on the project, Locked On game behind the Methods detective games. So, who's who of mystery games behind this project for Spooktober? This is... our goal here is to solve a mystery, of course. We are Grea, a Reaper of Souls. And we are off to a Halloween party to claim a soul, the victim of a locked room murder. In order to actually collect the soul, we have to solve the killing. So, we have locked room murders. We have T's at the end of the notes here. Is it the work of a human, a witch, something else entirely? We have our Human Echo references. Viewers of the Phoenix Wright fan cases on this channel will be more than familiar with locked room murders. So this is right up my alley. Excellent. Halloween. What a wickedly wonderful night to find restless souls. All humans party, look for candy, and scare the living daylights out of one another. I always make the most of that sacred time. Oh, right. Grea Param, I'm a reaper in search of exceptional souls to harvest. My job is simple. Find those that have died and usher their souls to their final destination. However, some souls are more treasured than others. I love this character design. I love her. Humans like to take comfort in telling each other that death is the great equalizer, that it's all the same when someone dies. It would be rather wicked to let them know how wrong they are, and so we don't. What they don't know is that those with interesting, complex, or otherwise unorthodox deaths are often more valuable. It's a point of pride amongst reapers to collect the more interesting souls. Nobody would talk reverently of a reaper who lingered around hospitals and nursing homes waiting for withering husks to fade after all. Is that the equivalent of reaper spawn camping? No, by far the most worthwhile and interesting deaths occur from murders. A human taking the life of another human, be it by passion or by plan. I suppose there's also some value to grudges, lingering regrets, and the like. So, yep. Souls pulsing with rage, regret, and remorse, powerful feelings that make them coveted like diamonds. However, because these souls are often overflowing with emotions, they are hard to reap. Like trying to pull a ship that's anchored to the ocean floor. But by solving the circumstances of their murders, they are placated and easily harvested. It's not always easy, but the reward is well worth the trouble. Plus, there is some fun in solving a murder. It's good when your work can become your play. With the bittersweet smell of death in the air, I can always tell when I'll have my work cut out for me. Happy Halloween, humans. You always make such monsters of yourselves. My vision cleared as I materialized in the darkness. Immediately I felt my clothes starting to cling to my skin as a heavy downpour of rain began to soak me. It didn't bother me. Being wet is no problem for a reaper, and you can't pick and choose where the finest dead souls will be found. I wiped some of the water from my face and looked around. I was standing at the side of what might have started the day as a scenic little dirt road through a forest. Now, though, it was becoming a long slick of mud. The only light came from the pale illumination of the full moon. It was enough to navigate by. Surrounding me, I could see wild grass, trees, and large rocky hills nearby. Ah, the quiet and rural landscape of the country, perfect for intimate murders with few witnesses. Perhaps someone was killed in the forest, in a slaughterhouse, maybe even on the road. I hummed these thoughts to myself as the rain continued to pour down. Rather than make any early guesses, I let the scent of death guide me instead. Breathed in the air and let the bittersweet aroma guide me down the wet, rainy road. Sooner or later, I'd come across a corpse. It was only a matter of time. Hello, corpse? Hello, corpse? Are you a corpse? Are you a no? I didn't have to wait long, as after about 10 minutes of walking, I could see shapes in the darkness. A modest home, a collection of cars carefully parked on the roadside, and, more importantly, a group of costumed humans gathered close together by the entrance. Well, it was Halloween. It was no surprise that they were dressed up. But in a rural area like this, would they really be going trick-or-treating? They look too old to be doing that. Or if adults started going around asking for candy these days. I mean, no shame in that. A bit of fun. What's little candy sharing amongst friends? I walked closer, but kept to the shadows so I could get a better look at them while staying undetected. Things could get complicated once I revealed myself. I couldn't hear them very well over the downpour, but I was close enough to be able to discern their appearances. Whoa. First one that caught my eye was a young man who was wearing an owl costume. He looked a little skittish and was trying to peer inside the house through its windows. There was a cardboard box by his feet, though I couldn't exactly tell what was in it. Next was the other young man who on first glance looked like a zombie. Zhengxi? As I observed him, I corrected myself. Yep, based on his outfit, I believed he was dressed as a Zhengxi, a creature of Chinese myth that's sort of a vampiric zombie. Costume aside, he looked irritable and was pounding his fist on the door. While I couldn't hear his words, I was able to make out his anger. But simply he was pissed. For one reason or another. My eyes cast downward toward the man's feet, and I saw 2 plastic bags full of bottles. And lastly, there was a young woman who was wearing a dress with a, tongue? I know what she's dressed up as. The name is escaping me, but not an easy costume to work out straight away, but when you work with the macabre as much as I do, it's hard not to take an interest in various cultures' spooky myths. Yeah. I'm not remembering the exact name of that umbrella yokai. I deduced she was wearing an interesting take on that umbrella yokai. Not bad, all things considered. And like the others, she had a plastic container by her feet full of something. She was busy typing away on her phone and also peering through the windows. 3 people all dressed up in Halloween costumes outside of a pitch-black house. One where the scent of death was ominously strong. Kasabake? Kasaobake? Those poor humans were just going to end up waiting by the door until the night was done. While I can be very patient, I hate wasting time needlessly. I stepped out from the rain and approached the house. It didn't take long for the three to turn and notice me. Oh, who's there? Vic, is that you? Obviously that's not Vic. Stop jumping at every shadow that shows up. It's obviously not a shadow, that's a person. I think. What else would it be? A monster? What if it's a monster? Have you looked at yourselves? It talks! How kind of the group's fool to identify himself. Oh no. It's Halloween, of course there's going to be a bunch of monsters roaming about. Although... The lady pointed her phone at me, the light illuminating me entirely. That's a pretty great costume. Let's put a lot of work into that Grim Reaper outfit. Thank you, it's my work uniform. And she's in character too, that's a real dedication. Why are you complimenting her? I have to agree with Bernard on this one. This chick's kind of weird. What's weird about me? I'm just enjoying the night. I don't mean to offend, really, but... I don't know you and you just walked up to us out of the shadows. Not to mention all this weird stuff going on with Vic and... Who's Vic? Not even gonna address the other things I said? I shot a stern glare at the owl man, who stiffened up and averted his gaze. Well, he just... I demand answers. Before the cowardly man could continue, the zombie raised his hand to make him stop talking. Look, I don't know you, and I don't know who you are or what your deal is, but it's none of your business. What are you even doing out here? So the blunt approach wasn't going to work. That was fine. I can put on the charm when I need to. I cleared my throat and then pretended to shiver. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to impose. I was just on my way to work, and I lost control of my car on the muddy roads. Can't get cell service, and no other cars have come by to help. So I've been wandering along the road hoping to find some sort of help. Just a little irritable from getting soaked to the bone. You were literally standing in the rain like a creep. Hey. The owl guy mumbled under his breath. Luckily, it seemed that my pleading was enough to at least soften the zombie's glare on me. I mean, it's dark, and this is kind of remote, so it's... intentional or not, it does come across that way. Maybe he did have a heart. Perhaps even a non-rotting one, despite how good the rest of his costume was. Same thing happened to us, sort of. We all got here before the rain got bad, but the mud's got all of our cars stuck. To make matters worse, we can't even get into Vic's house. Who's Vic? But this time they'd be more receptive to my question. He's a friend of ours and a big horror fanatic. Every Halloween he hosts a big party for us at his house. The man pointed to the home in front of us. Well, it's not big in the sense of people, more in presentation. It's pretty remote here, but he goes all out with the decorations. Sometimes he goes too far. That's where he's given me heart attacks with the things he's done. I see. So you can't get into your friend's house. Sounds troublesome. It is. We're waiting out here in the rain, and he's got the entire house locked up. Locked up? The door and the windows are completely locked. We can't see inside because all the blinds are closed and the lights are off. To make matters worse, he won't even answer his phone, so we have no idea what's going on. He had us off running errands, and now we can't even get inside. It's a pain in the butt. I'm worried that something happened to him. People don't just host a party and then go completely dark. Unless something's happened. Can I confirm everything? What do you mean by confirm? Confirm that the door and windows are locked. I mean, we checked, so... Yes, I know you checked. I just want to check for myself. May I? Knock yourself out. Oh. Wait. I approached the front door, reaching out for the knob and twisting it. Sure enough, it was locked, but just to be certain, I tried shoving the door. Do you have to be that thorough? Yes. You'd be surprised how many locked doors are just blocked off by some obstacle. Really? You must know a lot about this kind of thing, then. Quite so. Anyway, I'm going to check the windows now. Huh? But you have to circle the house for that. Get your boots all muddy. That ship sailed. Bernard. That's fine, I'll just wash them off in the rain when I get back. You really are weird. Noted. Now if you'll excuse me. Hey, won't you need a flashlight or something to be able to see? One of us should go with you. There's no need. Even if a phone has no signal, its flashlight can work just fine. Like you showed when you lit me up. Oh, of course. Indeed. Now, if you'll excuse me. I didn't wait for her permission, but instead walked past them to inspect the outside of the house. In truth, I didn't have a phone, but I have excellent night vision. Comes with the job. They didn't need to know that, though. Right before I rounded the side of the house, I spotted the umbrella woman whispering with the other three. She glanced in my direction, and then winked at me. I wasn't sure why she did that, but I didn't let it bother me. I inspected the windows around the house, and they were properly locked. Or at least they seemed to be. There was a dead body in there, and I was certain it was. There was. It was well protected. Walked back to the front of the house and looked at the other people gathered there. It seems you were right. The house's windows are all locked. Right, like I said before. Did you not trust me? I'd be a fool to trust people I just randomly met in the middle of the night. Who in their right mind would do that? The umbrella girl raised an eyebrow. Irony. Yeah, I wonder who. Guys, I'm getting really worried. Fear not. There's an easy way to resolve this. Break a window. There is? Yes. All I have to do is simply unlock the door. Got it. The other three looked at me as if I were mad. Don't you think we would have done that already if we could? So none of you have a key that opens this door. It's not our house, so why would we? I assume that if you were all good friends of Vic, at least one of you would have a spare. Hey, don't go off saying things like that. A person is entitled to their privacy. Right, privacy, of course. I shrugged and walked up to the door. Searched the pumpkins for a spare? Well then, we're left with no other option. And that is, kick down the door. We just have to break down the door. Break it down? We can't do that. Why not? You want to get inside, don't you? I mean, yes, I do, but... Is there something inside that you wouldn't want me to see? What? Why is that the first thing you jump to? Then I fail to see why we can't just break down the door and enter. Because Vic would probably want to kill us if we found out we wrecked his door. Oh, yes, I suppose that would inconvenience him. I'm just realizing that now? What if someone jumped through a window instead? How is that any better? I feel that it's much cheaper to replace a broken window than a broken door. Time spent in the hospital recovering might balance out the cost, though. The old man's jaw dropped, and he looked at the others. No doubt stunned at the realization that the windows were an alternate entrance point. No doubt! No doubt. Just play along, it's probably part of the act. The act? It was rather sweet the way they still hadn't realized I was being entirely serious. Well, they could believe what they liked, as long as they'd agree with us getting inside. Fine, but if Vic gets upset, you're taking the blame. Whatever, I just want to get this stuff inside and drink already. Walked up to the door with the zombie man, who looked at me and then at the door. So, how are we going to do this? Have you never kicked down a door before? Ooh, log, options, main menu. Load, save. Keyboard shortcuts. I usually just use the handle, or take the hint that I'm not meant to go through that door. Okay, then I will show you in case you ever need to do so. It's quite simple, really. Uh-huh. I walked up to the door and adjusted my stance. We're to stand about a leg's length away, prepare the kick with your dominant foot. Aim for just above or below the lock. Use a flat foot, make sure your knee is slightly bent on impact, and then... raise my foot in the air, delivered a swift and heavy kick to the door. It wasn't enough to break the door open on the first try, but the sound of splintering wood meant that there was progress. There. Now you can give it a go. Ah. That was uncomfortably detailed, ma'am. The zombie looked uncertain and turned to the others. Can you show me how to do it again? I sighed. Why couldn't these humans learn from just watching once? Fine, like I said, Just copy my form and then the door should buckle easily. Watch carefully this time. Took a step back and delivered another kick to the door, except this time the door broke open and swung inside the home. Oh, he knew. He just, wanted to be able to say that the strange lady who wandered up to Vic's house and broke down his door. Not him. There. It only took 2 kicks, and I'm not particularly strong. Girl, don't be so modest. You knocked that door clean off its hinges. No, I didn't. See, it's clearly still attached. Anyway, shall we go inside? I didn't bother waiting for a response and walked inside the house. Hello, Vic. Hey, wait, aren't you supposed to ask for permission before entering? That's what vampires do, not reapers. I mean, like a decent human being. Did you not hear me? I'm a reaper. Oh, she's way too committed. I love this. The others walked in behind me and flipped on the lights. Vic, we had to bust your door down since you wouldn't answer your phone. We think that this is part of some weird prank you're doing, so hopefully that's part of the act. Don't say we! This weird girl's the one who broke it down. I'm not going to take any responsibility for what happened here. As we all entered the home, I noticed that each of them had brought their box or bags inside. The zombie and Al walked over to the kitchen. The former began to unpacking bottles of alcohol onto one of the countertops, while the latter began to arrange boxes and packets of snacks onto another. None of the food got wet, did it? It's all in plastic packaging. Though it's dry, don't worry. I turned to the umbrella girl, who was pulling multiple VHS tapes and DVDs out of some bags. Oh, that happy spider in the corner is bringing me joy. That happy googly spider in the corner there is bringing me joy. She's even plugging various wires into the nearby TV and VCR DVD combo player. Despite being worried about their friend, they didn't seem to have much urgency in going to find him. Of course, they were only human. They couldn't smell his corpse from afar like I could. Took a sniff of the air. The acrid, bittersweet smell was more intense inside the house. There was no doubt that a body was in here somewhere. I didn't need to rush to find it. That would just make everyone here frantic and hard to talk to. I chose to take advantage of that moment of calm to glean some information out of them. Before I picked their brains individually, it would help me to gather them all up together first. Pardon me, but may I ask what it is that you've all brought with you? You seem more preoccupied with unpacking things than checking for your friend. We couldn't just leave the stuff out in the rain. Yeah, Victor was pretty strict about making sure we had everything in place for the party. As far as I'm concerned, we still have to set everything up. Right for when he shows up. When he shows up. Right, because this whole thing is just a prank. You're in on it, right? I said nothing and just stared at the owl man, unblinking. Until he decided to turn away. No one wins a staring contest with a Grim Reaper human. Gotta say that she's got that uncaring Reaper attitude down for sure. I take offense to that. I am very caring when I need to be. I just need to stay professional when I'm working. Ha! There! She just admitted that she was working. My words seem to just go through one ear and out the other with these people. Now that I think about it, we haven't been introduced. What's her name? Grea Param. That sounds made up. The stage name, of course it's made up. Yes, it was made up by somebody. This is all your names are, I assume. Technically, that's true, I guess. Huh? Why are you all glaring at us like that? I'm waiting for you to tell me your names. Huh? Huh? You don't know our names. How would I know your names? I just met you only a few minutes ago. I mean, that's true, but didn't Victor tell you our names in advance? They still thought I was part of some prank. I shook my head. Mio, are you sure that she's not like some lunatic witch stumbling in from the forest? Witches would not be allowed to wear this uniform. Yeah, Bernard. Witches would obviously have a hat and broomstick, duh. That's not what I meant! So you two are Mio and Bernard? Yeah, I'm Mio Yoshida, and that's Bernard. Bernard Hahn. Wait, why did we just give her our last names? What if he used them to commit fraud? Ah, yes. Of course. How would she do that with just our names? I don't know, I just didn't want to give out my personal details so easily. It's only fair to give out your full name after I gave out mine. How do you even know that? How do you even know that it's your real name? I'm wearing a name tag. It's part of my uniform. I shifted the amethyst on my outfit to show the crystallized name inside. Oh, that's cute. What about the zombie? What is his name? It's Kai Durand. Excellent. Now that we're all acquainted, I'd like to ask the group some questions. Sure, fire away. First question. I saw you all gathered together, outside together. Did you all arrive at the same time? No, I was the first to show up here. Bernard showed up next, and then finally Neil. So you showed up alone first, Kai? That's what I just said. The door was locked when you first arrived. Kai frowned and looked back at the broken door. Yeah, I knocked on the door and rang the doorbell, but Vic didn't show up. I just waited a couple of minutes. That's when the others showed up in their cars. We each drove here on our own. We had a few errands to run before the party was going to get started after all. That's probably referring to all the food, drinks, and entertainment that they brought. I'll ask them each about that later. When did you check the windows? Maybe a couple of minutes after we all arrived and tried calling Victor. We figured we'd check all around the house. Mio didn't want to get her costume all muddy, so Kai and I went around the house while she waited up front. Making me sound like a jerk. Nah, the rain was starting to come down a bit harder, so I don't blame you for wanting to stay out of the dirt. That's funny, considering that you're an umbrella, Yokai. It's just a costume. It's not exactly waterproof. Regardless, did anything happen while you were standing watch or inspecting around the house? No, the curtains and the windows were closed. We couldn't even see inside with our phones. We couldn't really hear anything aside from the rain. So they had no idea what the state the house was in until they got inside. Was that deliberate or just a coincidence? We haven't started the mystery yet. That's what that comes up to. That comes down to when we discover Victor. Nothing happened while I was waiting up front either. And how long were you alone for? Could have been more than a couple of minutes. Maybe like 3 minutes at most. Then Kai and Bernard came back. Waited a couple of minutes. Pounded on the door some more. Kept calling Vic. Then you showed up. I see. Thank you. I have a better grasp of the timeline now. Kai showed up first, so he could have been inside or done something else while he was alone. Not that I really saw any evidence of that, but I should at least keep the possibility in mind. Mia was only alone for about 3 minutes. That might have been enough time to tamper with something. I knew that I'd have to keep my eyes open for anything that seemed off. Speaking of, this room seems extremely well decorated. Someone put a lot of work into it. That's Vic for you, a fanatic perfectionist. Doesn't have to go all out on the decorations, but every year he does. I think it's kind of sweet the way he does all this for us. It's at the time he had that damn haunted animatronic doll that scared the bejesus out of me. Oh no. Oh yeah, that was a good year. So he does all this himself. Yep. Always likes to make the party a big surprise. That was a great year. Was that the point? No, not even. Seems that it's the same way this year too. I figured that you're part of the decorations now too. Kai pointed at me and I stared blankly at him. I am no decoration to be gawked at. Right. Well, that's everything, and let me get back to pulling out all these bottles. They were a pain to pack up, and I don't want anyone tripping over them. Go ahead. I'll simply observe for the time being. I feel like there's an alternate story path here where Grea is actually like together with Vic in some way, and this is a really elaborate mystery plot. Even though I'm totally down for this as this came together, as this is coming together, Grea being a shoot Grim Reaper who just so happens to conspicuously blend in with the Halloween crowd, and so we're getting all of these fun misunderstandings. Okay, I'll simply observe for the time being. I step back and let the others get back to their duties. Not that I was going to sit back for too long. Now it was time to get personal. I have a small chat with each of them before I gave them a slight push to find out where their friend had disappeared to. Oh, okay. There's only one outcome here, so we can probably do all these in any order whatsoever. Bernard. I walked up to Bernard, who was unpacking various food items from a box on the kitchen counter. He kept looking away from me as I stared at him. What? Nothing. I'm just observing what you're doing. Just packing some snacks for later. It's not all that interesting. I narrowed my eyes to inspect what he was unpacking. Boxes of crackers, popcorn packets, some bags of candy, candy corn, 2 jars of cookies with fancy lids, and colorful candy bars, each with tamper-proof seals. Humans are always so worried about people messing with their food. I suppose you're right. It's not all that interesting. What I find interesting is why someone so easily spooked and ended up befriending someone obsessed with horror. This strikes me as odd. Is it really that odd? Yeah. While you may be dressed as an owl, I sense that you have the soul of a chicken. Oh, why are you so rude? Why are you a coward? First of all, I'm not a coward. Perfectly normal to be scared of things, so if I'm a little jittery? Keep me safe if someone runs at me with a knife. I suppose there is some benefit to cowardice, but that still doesn't explain how you befriended someone that probably spooked you, no? Well, we both like the same sorts of games. Games? Our games. We played them together growing up. You can't convince me that you willingly played horror games with your skittish attitude. I never played them alone. I'd always ask Victor to play them while I won. And there it is. I like the stories a lot. I just couldn't get through the gameplay. Honestly, I know a fair amount of people like that, so fair play. Games with fascinating lore, who the day-to-day is legitimately terrifying and hard to get through, playing the games themselves. What a strange way to bond with someone. That's just how we got to know one another. After that, the friendship just came naturally. It comes with its usual pros and cons. Such as... Well, Victor's a mischievous guy. He likes to play pranks and make stupid jokes. Even if it scares the life out of me, that's just the guy he is. He's also dedicated. I mean, he always hosts this party every year without fail and always makes it fun. So I can't say he's a bad guy, I just wish he'd calm down a bit more. Be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. What does that mean? Nothing. I don't want to spoil the surprise of you finding out just how calm he is now. Dead calm. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Anyway, can I have one of these snacks? I haven't eaten since I got here. Joe toward one of the jars of cookies he'd pulled out. Wait, but I'd smack my hand away before I could grab one. Don't touch that! Withdrew my hand and glared at him. Wait, we're not supposed to eat them until the party starts. Victor told me, so you can't have any. Just one cookie. You're not even a proper guest, so don't act like you're entitled to one. I grumbled under my breath and looked over all the snacks with envy. Fine. Keep your stupid snacks. I don't want one anyway. I did, but with the owl keeping watch, there was no way I'd be able to sneak one. Yummy snacks! My favorite snacks. If I get one of those cookies, mark my words. I'm coming for you, cookie. I retreated back to the center of the living room. Kai? I walked over to Kai, who was organizing the bottles. Drinks range from sodas to whiskey to even some water bottles. Quite the selection you have there. Well, what's a party without alcohol? A party? Alcohol isn't needed to have a good time. Kai rolled his eyes. Yeah, well, it makes things better, that's for sure. Vic knows that as well as anybody. That's why he asked me to get drinks. Was there any particular reason why he asked you specifically? Because I know the best places to get it for cheap, without sacrificing quality. There aren't a lot of stores around here, so knowing where to get good booze is a handy skill. One that I've perfected over the years. What an impressive skill that will certainly aid you in the future. The deadpan. I mean, it probably comes in handy if you're on a budget. But more importantly, I can mix these things up into something real tasty once the party gets going. Oh, so the Victor fellow invited you to be the bartender. That makes much more sense. He invited me because I'm his friend. There's not much more to it than that. How long have you known him for? Since we were in kindergarten, I think. So, quite a long time. The guy's always been a bit of a, weirdo. No, not a weirdo. I mean, sure, he's weird, but he's more... eccentric. That's the word. Isn't that the same as weird? Weird is like insulting. Eccentric has more of a positive spin, doesn't it? They both mean strange and out of the ordinary, but I suppose that eccentric has a more positive connotation. Exactly. Victor's a good guy, but he tends to get caught up in his own thoughts sometimes. That's why we balance one another out well. I'm the grounding force that keeps him from having his head in the clouds. Oh, how sweet. You really care for him. Don't sound so sappy. That's just what good friends do for one another. Be surprised that many good friends aren't really that kind at all. That's their problem. Victor and I go way back. We have a bond as strong as steel. I see. Poor Kai. It wouldn't be long, after all, until he found that even steel can be shattered. By the way, do you have a favorite drink? I'm a pretty good mixologist. I don't drink that often, but I could go for a whiskey sour. Oh. No sours. His face dropped as he looked over his collection of bottles. Is that going to be a problem? Well, sort of. I didn't bring any lemon juice. Isn't lemon juice a common ingredient in a lot of drinks? Did you just forget to buy it? No, if anything, I remembered to not buy it. I don't understand. Because the problem with lemons, so I try not to get anything that might have lemon flavoring in it. Oh, what about the others? What if they wanted a lemon drink? Then they can be good friends and have their second choice. I got to look out for Vic, after all. Preach! Good guy, Kai. That still doesn't make sense to me. Good guy, Kai. They're friends with Vic. They're really friends with Vic. And they know he's got lemon allergies. They are, going to pass up on lemon stuff while in Kai's presence. Easy going. Don't worry about it. I'll just make you something else later, alright? Okay, if you say so. I'll leave you to organize your makeshift bar. Yeah, I'll do just that. I left Kai alone and moved back to the center of the living room. Feels like we kind of made a half-decent impression with Kai. Bernard is probably still terrified of us, but... Mio seems chill. I decided to talk with Mio, who is busy plugging various wires into the television. Is there a reason why you're the one doing all the technical work? The others got drinks and snacks, so I got stuck with movie duty. If you don't use the right wires, then you won't get the right sound or video. Old tech is so annoying. And you had to get all these movies as well? Glanced over at the collection of VHS tapes and DVDs on the table. Game of Misfortune, Void Spaced. Aha! Referencing. Yes, excellent. Referencing all the games. Game of Fortune, Blank Space. Methods, the Detective Roulette. Detective Butler? I think that's Kinjo Goldbar, project managers. Maiden Voyage Murder, I see Annabelle, Ray. I don't recognize the other two offhand, but interesting collection here. Excellent choices. Yeah, these are some bona fide classics. Is there a reason why you're watching them on old VHS tapes and DVDs? You could probably stream them. Vic thinks that there's a sort of horrific charm in watching old media on old technology. So Vic is clearly a fan of the old H-Bomber Guide video on the Scanlines series. The old movies, old aspect ratios, old tech. Just the sheer atmosphere. The old technology brought to films that kind of gets lost when they get upscaled to modern bajillion graphics and whatnot. Some of them, yeah. Vic knows that I've got good taste when it comes to horror-related stuff. That's how I met, you know, at the School Occult Club. A cult club. Yeah, a lot of people are off-put by scary stories and occult myths, but I think they're fascinating. Every culture has its monsters, ghouls, and spirits to watch out for. Why not learn how the horrors of the world manifested in each of them? That's Actually, a very intellectual way to look at it. Thanks, I take my research seriously. I can tell. Your outfit looks pretty accurate for a Kaso-Obake. Recovering one leg to represent how they're one-legged, right? Miu's eyes went wide, and soon after, so did her smile. You get it? Oh my gosh, I thought no one was going to see all the effort I put into this. Just being a cult fan yourself. Not really. This kind of info just comes with my job. Right, because you have to research to play a bunch of parts, don't you? Sure, whatever you say. Would have been more hassle than it was worth to argue about it at that point anyways. In that case, maybe you might want to try and up your game with some other ideas. Give me a second. Miu started looking around the living room until she found a particular book and laid it out on the table. Found this masterpiece in an old library that was selling off books that hadn't been borrowed in years. What exactly is it? A catalog of all sorts of monsters, spirits, and cryptids, with detailed sketches and descriptions. I lent this to Victor because he likes to use it for inspiration whenever we have these parties. I see. Thank you. Go on, no need to be modest, you can take a peek. Promise that the forbidden knowledge within won't burn your eyes out. Thanks, that's reassuring. Miu's big eyes were glaring expectantly at me. Like the detail of, Grea being the, legit Grim Reaper, not human. Her eyes have a cloudy air to them, while everyone else's have a normal shine to it. It's a nice, neat touch. Neat touch. And a feeling there wasn't any way I could get away without at least entertaining the book with a glance. I sighed and then opened the book to a random page that was bookmarked. It had detailed descriptions and sketches of 4 monsters. Werewolves. Powerful beasts of the night that transform from human to powerful beastmen with ravenous hunger and ferocity. Contrary to popular belief, the transformation is more akin to a blood explosion. The skin bursting apart as the wolf-like features push their way out over the skeleton. Gross. Similarly, direct contact with moonlight is required to trigger this transformation, even then only during a full moon. The best way to deal with a werewolf is to use silver, fire, or simply execute the human when it reverts back to its wolf form. Werewolves can go back to being human if not exposed to moonlight for extended periods of time. Move on to the next section. Doppelgangers. Masters of disguise, these monsters are able to steal the skin of the dead and alter their bodies to match. Not inherently dangerous on their own, a doppelganger's desire to fit in sometimes causes them to murder to find a disguise that will offer them safety. When they steal the skin of a fresh corpse, they gain access to their memories and personality, allowing for a perfect disguise. They even inherit physical conditions such as poor vision, intolerance to milk, or even a recently contracted illness. Doppelganger kills you, and absorbs you, becomes you, then... Oh fuck, I can't drink milk anymore! God damn it! Doppelgangers use their diamond-shaped claws to dig deep into the body and tear it off without damaging the rest of the tissue. Oh. That description brings lines to like the old bone thieves from Eternal Darkness. Technique that has served them well for many years. Be on the lookout and trust nobody. That was actually an interesting read. Reapers. Oh, something on my kind. I was curious to see what they managed to get right, and what misconceptions they conjured up. Reapers are servants of death, ushering the deceased to their final resting place. Correct, though such common knowledge didn't even need to be written down. They usually take the form of a skeleton shrouded in a cloak of darkness, although they are rarely seen. What? Where'd they get this information from? Why do humans always jump to the wrong conclusions when the supernatural's involved? Yes, we have skeletons, that doesn't mean we just walk around all bony. That'd be a horrible disguise. There are many flavors of Reapers, each type specializing in certain deaths. Grim Reapers, Laughing Reapers, Withering Reapers, Dauntless Reapers. Technically true, though I'm not sure if the names are a perfect match. I do hate dealing with those overly joyous Reapers, always laughing and smiling about the stupid deaths. Those are the kinds of Reapers who make TikToks about all the stupid deaths they have to clean up after. Shows that comedy is the way to help some souls move on, though. Despite the difference in name, they all share the same common powers of being able to sense death and transport souls. True. We also have a few more tricks to help ourselves blend in without being noticed and traverse the world. Personally don't mind a bit of fame, though. Their work is unyielding and never-ending, and leading to all Reapers living long and lonely lives until Master Death calls on them to rest. We certainly live longer than they realize, and longer than they'd likely be able to comprehend. But lonely? Hardly. Reapers interface with one another very frequently. How else could we hear a claim when we reap complicated souls? And our jobs often have us in contact with many other humans, even if only for a few brief moments. We all attend ReaperCon 2020. ReaperCon every year. Hold panels on harvesting difficult souls and the like. And death doesn't toss away useful servants. But if a Reaper is careless enough, they'll happily assign the role to someone more worthy. Not that I have to worry about that. Now on to the last one. Slimes. Extremely rare and extremely dangerous. The slime is able to suffocate and digest organic matter with its acidic body. Slimes may appear small, but they may be simply hiding portions of their body between cracks. Never approach a slime. They consume everything aside from bones, and worst of all, if a slime consumes a sentient being, it gains a cunning intelligence and may start to morph its body to lure in prey. Oh! If you suspect a slime is impersonating someone, look for a slime-like tether anywhere on their body. A cunning slime may try to disguise it as a gum or a dough. Do not fall for it and simply run. I have to admit I wasn't too familiar with these creatures. Honestly, humans believe in a lot of made-up nonsense, and miss a lot of things that are right under their noses. Not that I was going to tell Mio that. I know, right? It's a treasure trove of valuable information. Let's hope that your friend didn't decide to put any slime-like traps around the house to fit the mood. Knowing him, nothing is off the table. Anyway, I should get back to setting this up properly. I don't want to have to battle with a tangle of cables in the dark later. I'll leave you to it then. Put the book back down on the table and left Mio to her work. That had been an interesting set of distractions. I needed to get things moving. This has been pleasant and all, but shouldn't the host of the party be revealing themselves about now? Yes, even if this is a joke of some kind, Vic should have shown up already. Instead of some kind of long build-up. Maybe we should go looking for him. Kai groaned as he stood up and looked toward the doorway ahead. Alright, I'll go look for him then. Shouldn't we all go together? I guess we could if you want to. I'm still setting things up. You're doing is taking food out of a box. You can leave it for a second, can't you? Well, someone eat something while I'm gone! We wouldn't have to worry about that if we all left together. Oh, that's a good point. Just be part of the prank. But we're all meant to go together. Come across some gruesome scene while we're grouped up. Oh, darling. Why do I want to see something like that? Because it's Vic that we're talking about. Ugh. It's going to be such a big hassle. Just stay put and I'll be back in a few minutes at most. Vic's house isn't that big anyway, so it'll be easy to find. I don't like people wandering off alone, so I considered whether to accompany him. I was about to follow Kai into the hall when Mio grabbed him by the arm. Hey, Grea, I just remembered something. What? I turned back to watch Kai go down the hall. Turn a corner again, and vanish from sight. Damn, he's gone. See that you were having issues calling for help earlier. If your phone's still not working, you can use mine. Because you don't really need to call for help. She smiled coyly as she held her phone out in front of me. I had a feeling that she knew I didn't really need to call anyone and was just testing me. But if she thought that I was just some actor, then why was she interfering? Maybe she wanted to throw a wrench into the perceived prank that Vic had laid out. Or did she simply not believe in it at all? Maybe she viewed me as a complete stranger. Right, I'll see if I can call them. I took the phone out from her hand and began to type in a number. Just a dummy number that I usually use to fake a phone conversation. Let it ring a few times before feigning frustration. All the while, Mio seemed to be looking around the room, putting a hand up to her ear. Was she listening for a phone to ring? Damn it, I'm not answering. What if we put it on silent? Oh, she is definitely hunting for answers here. Yep, she must have thought I was calling their friend Vic. I handed the phone back to Mio, who pouted as she tucked it away. Really committed to the part, huh? Come on, you can tell me what he's planning, girl to girl, yeah? What do you mean? You know that Vic hired you as some material for whatever prank he's got set up. On our side, let's flip things a little and spook him instead. I really don't understand what you're talking about. Fine, I'll say it plainly. Vic's always getting the drop on us with these pranks and tricks. We've all been itching to get a little playful revenge on him. Why not help us out instead? I'll pay double what he paid. Oh, I like her. Is it really that important to trick your friend that you'd pay someone to help you? At the very least, it'd be memorable. Look, come on, tell us where he's hiding and maybe we can plan something out. I'm sorry, but I really don't have any idea where. Holy shit! Our conversation was cut short as Kai's voice boomed out through the house.